James Bonds.
Yeah, I met them all.
So, which is your favorite? Which is nice guy, so which is a bad guy?
I'm not going to say it. I get into trouble all the time because people quote me as saying things about them. I remember being at the Albert Hall with all the Bonds except Connery. He wouldn't show up for the 40th anniversary. And I'm bragging a bit because they introduced all the others, then me, and then it would have been Sean who showed up. But when he introduced me, the whole audience stood up. And I shivered. You know, I got my face is through my body. I said, I must have done something right. It really upset all the other guys. And because they were serious actors, they wanted to do it forever. And again, you got to understand, I never wanted to be an actor. A friend of mine double dated an agent who wanted to be an actor. And I took her out. I won't tell you what happened. But next thing she wants to either go off to James Bond. That's how it happened. And I had no clue about acting. I went in there and told them I did films in Czechoslovakia, Hong Kong, and places I thought they couldn't check on. And then they said, I want you to meet the director. I said, well, when's he coming? And then he asked the casting guy, when's the director coming back? He was location hunting in Switzerland. And so I said, on tomorrow, sir, at 4 o'clock. And this is when I was getting nervous. I thought, this is my out. I said, I can't be here at 4 o'clock tomorrow. I was shitting myself. I knew I'd told too many lies, and you know, in my head. And I wouldn't be able to live up to the part. That's what I felt. And they said, well, be here at 4 o'clock tomorrow. I said, I can't be here. I said, why not? I'm working in Paris, which is bullshit. They said, what are you doing? I said, I'm working on a film. How much are they giving you? £500 a day, which was 50 weeks' wages in London in those days. I thought, get me out. They said, go down and see Stanley Zappel, he's still alive. He'll give you £500, be here at 4 o'clock tomorrow. So I went down, Stanley wanted to give me $250, because he didn't know what he's giving it to me for. They just called out and said, give that guy £500. So I said, no, see you, Stanley. And he said, no, come back here, I'll give you £500. So my agent goes, how'd you do? I said, I gave you £500 to come back tomorrow. I said, yeah, right. Nobody gets money to come back on callback. And phone booths at the time, there was no cell phone. She came down to look. She said, I can't believe this. So I went out and had an acting lesson that night, thinking that would cure everything. And then the next day when I met the director, he was mad as hell. He had this look on his face like, you asshole. And he was a gay guy, and he had his gay friends in Switzerland. And he wanted to stay for the weekend, and Harry said, get your butt back here. So he was mad at me. And he said, tell me what you've done. And I don't know what made me say it, but it just came true. I said, I've never done anything, Peter. He just stared at me with a blank stare. And then he started laughing. He fell off his chair. He said, you've never acted before? I said, never. Yes, I said, I've never met an actor. And he said, you stick to your story, I'll make you the next James Bond. You fooled two of the most ruthless men I've ever met in my life. They made me come back from Switzerland to meet you. And so we went over there, and that's when they said, get him out of here, he's a male model. And Peter said, but it's one of those things that if you want something bad enough, look out, it might happen. Every time I've wanted something bad enough, seriously inside me, bad enough, and it's not always what I should have had, but I've got it. And I think we're all capable of that because it just pushes everyone out of the road. You know, when I had 300 actors that tested on film, and then what chance have I got? But I was different because I didn't know what I was doing. All I was doing was playing James Bond in my imagination. And, you know, every guy wants to be the guy that can win at gambling, win the woman, shoot guy that gets in the way. I mean, that's the image of James Bond that turns men on. It doesn't turn me on anymore. But I'm still earning money out of it. It's just the way it goes. I go now?
During the shoot, what was the craziest thing that happened?
The craziest or greatest? I ended up doing my own stunts. I didn't know the other guys didn't do them. So the director's attitude was, shit, if we kill him off, we'll get a second shot. No one's seen him anyway. So I was, the fight scenes were easy, but I was jumping out of helicopters, hanging off cables, thousands of feet up in the air, thinking, what am I doing here? And I always used to say, I bet the other fellow didn't have to do this. And that's where that line came from. This never happened to the other fellow when Diana Rigg ran off with my car on the beach. I don't know, the best things, the craziest thing that happened? I'll tell you a funny story. I was in Portugal and all these girls were up on stage kicking their legs up in the air. And I got up there with them thinking they'd like it. And they all went off the stage. And I said, I'm sorry, I ruined the show for everybody. And I went out backstage and told them I went to James Bond. I thought I could do that. Everybody loved it. No, you can't do that here. Anyway, I invited them all back to my room. And this is 10 o'clock at night. 2 o'clock in the morning, I knock on the door. I got a huge suite by this stage. They got a balcony, like a tennis court, lots of bedrooms, but they opened the door and there's a row of showgirls right down the hallway. Leather boots on, you know how they used to dress back then. And I said, oh, come in. Then I rang up a tennis player called Lou Hode. He was the only Australian I knew was in the hotel, and he'd never met me. I rang up and said, Lou, I got 40 chillers up here, you gotta come out and help me out. And he said, then he hung up. Then I rang back. I said, no, I'm serious. He said, you better be, or I'll throw you off the fucking balcony. You know? And so he came up, and he couldn't believe it. We'd never met each other, but we're both, I knew he was Australian, he understood.